But first, in a very big story, the U.S. is going after the Chinese government hackers who allegedly stole trade secrets from U.S. companies such as Alcoa. The U.S. says 6 firms were targeted by a Chinese military unit based in Shanghai. China strongly denies the allegations. Nathan King joins us now from the newsroom with the latest on this story. Nathan?
That's right, Phil. This is the first time the U.S. Justice Department has charged Chinese military officials with industrial espionage. Even though the indictment is 53 pages, in short, the U.S. says that Chinese military unit monitored and stole U.S. company secrets in a bid to gain the upper hand for Chinese companies who are either dealing with U.S. firms involved in a trade dispute or seeking a competitive advantage in the nuclear, metal or solar industries.
Today we are announcing an indictment against 5 officers of the Chinese People's Liberation Army for serious cybersecurity breaches against 6 American victim companies.
The 5 charged by the U.S. are all accused of being part of a People's Liberation Army unit dubbed 61398, with wanted posters printed calling for the arrest of Wang Dong, Sung Ke-liang, Wen Shi-yu, Huan Zhenyu, and Gu Chuen-hui. The Department of Justice say targets include 5 U.S. firms and 1 powerful trade union. Westinghouse allegedly had designs for parts of nuclear power plants stolen. According to the indictment, solar firm Solar World had pricing, manufacturing and legal documents taken. The charges also say U.S. Steel was targeted by malware and so-called spear phishing emails that allegedly penetrated litigation departments during a trade dispute. The U.S. case also claims that Allegheny Technologies had, quote, network credentials for virtually every ATI employee stolen. Emails were also allegedly stolen from the United Steelworkers Union involving trade disputes with Chinese firms. And Alcoa, the world's largest aluminum maker, is said to have had thousands of emails and attachments stolen. Unveiling the charges, U.S. prosecutors said these alleged thefts have drained the U.S. economy and undercut American jobs.
Cyber theft impacts real people in real and painful ways. The lifeblood of any organization is the people who work, strive, and sweat for it. When these cyber intrusion occurs, production slows, plants close, workers get laid off and lose their homes.
China quickly denied all the allegations and instead accused the U.S. of industrial espionage. In a statement, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said, quote, this U.S. move, which is based on fabricated facts, grossly violates the basic norms governing international relations and jeopardizes China-U.S. cooperation and mutual trust. China also suspended the activities of the cyber working group set up in response to meetings between the U.S. and Chinese presidents last year in California. That group was meant to establish so-called rules of the road when it came to cybersecurity. There are long-standing Chinese allegations against U.S. firms too. Details of U.S. spying contained in documents released by former National Security Agency contractor Edward Snowden claimed that China telecom giant Huawei was targeted by the NSA. China says it has lodged complaints with the U.S. many times and called for an explanation. And even Cisco Systems CEO has said business in China has dropped off after allegations the NSA physically tampered with equipment to conduct surveillance on Chinese networks. Yeah, in all, U.S. authorities leveled about 31 counts against the Chinese officers. If convicted, the maximum penalty for these crimes would be about 15 years in prison. But it's unlikely any of the 5 officers will see a U.S. courtroom. They've never visited the United States, according to the U.S. Attorney General, and are based in Shanghai and are all part of the PLA. And I think it's safe to say, Phil, that the Chinese government won't be handing these guys over anytime soon.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good case for that. Now, here's my question, though. So if they're not likely to be extradited to the United States, what do you think the government's hoping to achieve by these charges?
Yeah, absolutely. You remember that they've been talking about establishing rules of the road on cybersecurity for a long time, and there have been allegations and counter-allegations. Why now? Well, let's first of all state that this investigation has taken many years. And so it's been many years in the making. They've had a lot of pressure, the American authorities, from companies and also unions. And remember, we also have midterm elections coming up. And also, remember, the Edward Snowden allegations have sort of given the U.S., they've lost the moral high ground. Maybe this is a way of getting it back. The timing is also interesting, Phil. Remember, General Fang Fenghui from the People's Liberation Army was actually here in the U.S. Just a few days ago. So this indictment basically has unsealed after that historic visit about establishing more military-to-military ties. But as you know, the men charged today by the U.S. are members of the PLA.
It's quite a change of circumstances in just the last few days here. Nathan King joining us from the newsroom. I want to thank you very much.